So you're looking to start a social media marketing agency, but you're just confused as to what niche you should actually get into and what niche you should actually pick. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the absolute best niche you should actually go for in 2022, 2021, depending on when you're actually watching this. Normally it'll probably be 2022. So that being said, guys, I'm just going to break down first and foremost what the best niche actually is. And to your surprise, I'm pretty sure you've heard this all before, but there actually isn't really a best niche. It depends on what their problems are, how you can solve that, how you go about solving that, what you're actually genuinely interested in as well, because that does play a factor in it. Not a big factor, I would say. I'd rather you pick a niche that you don't like and make a lot of money than pick a niche that you do like that's not really a great niche to actually get into. So honestly, guys, there's not really a overall best niche. The best niche you can focus on is the one that you actually focus on. Sounds kind of weird, but I'm pretty sure you've heard the saying that the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. Now, I do have my own personal opinion on this, and that is obviously within my business, we actually go after the e-commerce space. Now, not to confuse you guys, but realistically, my agency does two things because we use the hybrid system. So again, the hybrid system, I'm just going to quickly mention it one more time. I have been mentioning this so much these days because it's literally one of the best strategies I've ever come across in SMMA, and I actually just happened to figure it out and fall upon it. In fact, I feel like if it found me, to be honest with you, I'm so glad it did, because that's actually changed my life. So long story short, guys, I do two things in my agency. So number one is we use a platform called Upwork.com. I'm not affiliated with it in any way, shape or form, but I basically use Upwork.com, which is the freelance website. And what we do is we stack up smaller ticket social media management clients. We offer social media management to them, which is content creation, creating content, overall marketing strategy, and just basically not advertising, not like conversion advertising anyway, conversion ads. And we offer that to any business in any niche, whether they're big or small, experienced or brand new. Literally any business, doesn't actually matter. This is for cash flow purposes. Then what we do is we stack up multiple of these clients so that we've actually got cash flow coming in. And then what we do is we take that cash flow and we invest into hiring people or virtual assistants that are going to basically help us write our emails or write our emails on our behalf in order to land and attract higher ticket clients. Now, these clients that we're going after outside of the Upwork platform are e-commerce brands. I don't have a sub niche. It's just e-commerce brands that meet a certain criteria. You guys know what the criteria is. If you're inside of agency transmutation and you've got the actual bonus folder as well that comes with an additional 50 hours of live coaching calls, you've got the actual folder in there and the kind of like the prospecting in the cold email section, so you know exactly what I mean. By the way, if you're interested in agency transmutation, it is still open for enrollment at 50% off. The price will be going up very soon, going into the new years and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, long story short, my actual favorite niche and the niche I found the most success in, now that I've scaled my business, you know, past the actual agency, past multiple six figures at this particular point, is the e-commerce space. So we do run Facebook ads for e-com brands. Now, the way how we go about getting our e-com brands again is because it is by doing cold emails. We do cold emails at a mass scale. So what we do instead, and the way how we run our agency instead, is we use, I guess, smaller ticket clients for cash flow. That cash flow allows us to hire and put in place a proper outreach system that's automated. Now I can send, for example, 25 emails a day per each person that I hire. So I hire multiple people to do this for me. So let's say I've got two people, John and Harry, for example. John and Harry are sending me 25 emails per day each. So that's 50 emails per day to e-com brands based upon my criteria that I've taught them, based upon the businesses that I've showed them previously, and based upon the businesses that we're already working with. And I show them those criteria and they go out and reach out to them in order to close clients for us. Well, set up meetings for us anyway. I get on the calls and still close them, by the way. And I outsource the work, by the way, to a completely different person, which is what you call a media buyer, if you will. Media buyers, that's completely separate. Today, I'm just talking about the best niche. Now, the reason why I say that the e-com space is the best niche to get into is there's a couple of reasons, and some of these are actually backed up by statistical facts as well. So let me break some of these down. If you see me looking over here, it's just because, again, I've just got some notes. So number one, I found with e-com brands, right, and like the e-commerce space, is that overall, the niche, I just feel like, is more tech savvy. They understand marketing more, they understand advertising more, and they understand just the language more. So I feel like they just overall understand the language more in terms of being able to convey your messaging forwards as to why your actual your service is actually valuable to them. Now, with the local lead gen businesses, such as like real estate agents, chiropractors, dentists, basically local businesses, I found that conveying your services over, and like your advertising services, your social media marketing services, they're not as tech savvy, and some of them are still stuck in their old ways. I mean, the whole pandemic thing kind of sped them along a little bit, but I feel like they're still in their old ways, still stuck in their old ways, and still want to use the old proven handshake, old offline methods of marketing, such as like flyers, posters, billboards, that sort of stuff. I feel like they're still catching up, whereas the e-com space, because their businesses are online and they rely on online methods, selling them a service that is online marketing and social media marketing and stuff like that, they understand it, they understand the value in it, and they just speak that language. Basically, it's just the same language that you guys are speaking on a day-to-day basis. So point number 2 is that as well with e-com brands, I found, and again guys, don't forget that I was actually in the dental space. I then moved into the real estate agent space, and then the whole COVID pandemic happened. So this point really hit home. So this next point I'm about to make is that the e-com brands and the e-com niche, should I say, isn't as affected by global affairs as local businesses. So for example, like economical crashes and stuff like that, because a e-commerce brand operates online and they sell in multiple different countries and stuff like that, and they don't have like physical stores, they're not affected by like, you know, pandemics, they're not affected by geopolitical kind of like issues, economical issues, they're not geographically restricted. They can sell to multiple different countries whenever they really want to, as long as they have the infrastructure to do so. So I found that when I was working with the real estate agents and stuff like that, I actually had to put some of my real estate agent clients on pause, unfortunately, back in 2020, and that made me realize I might as well jump into the e-commerce space, because that's the space that I want to get into eventually. Now, I'm not saying that the e-com space is by any means easy. It actually is quite a hard niche to get into. I feel like it's harder to find leads if you don't know what you're doing. If you're not inside agent implementation, you definitely will be struggling to find leads, probably using stuff like Lead Carrot and D7 Lead Finder, and still doing the algorithm hop. So yes, it is slightly more difficult to find leads, and it's also slightly more difficult to actually generate sales, which I'll be talking, you know, actual results for, like generate sales for, if you will, which I'll be talking about in a second anyway. But I found that, you know, like all my other clients, like my real estate clients, stuff like that, I had to put them on hold because of the whole pandemic, because they just weren't selling. Nobody was buying or selling houses. Nobody was even going out. They literally physically had to close their business down for a couple of months, like quite an extended period, if you will. And that basically, you know, impacted my income. If I'm not delivering a service for my clients because they're not open, that then has a negative knock-on effect onto me, which basically affects my income. So that's another one of the reasons why I really love the e-com space. That doesn't really happen unless the entire internet goes down. And I don't think that's ever happened, or it ever will, because it's not like the internet is one thing. It's like multiple computers kind of, it's almost like Bitcoin. It's like a blockchain almost. So where it's kind of like multiple computers keeping the framework up anyway. They're not as affected by geopolitical kind of like issues, economical issues, that sort. So they don't really need to close their doors. Not only that, but they sell their products to multiple parts of the world, so they don't need to really worry about closing the doors, like I said. Not only that, but that allows them to operate through these crises, and that allows you then to make money even if they have to adapt their business to sell in different parts of the country. So they've got more options there, if you will. Now, another point I've really kind of come across is that they don't typically have many expenses as well with e-com brands. Again, if you see me looking over the screen, I just want to make sure that I'm hitting every single point without getting distracted. But long story short, I've noticed that with e-com brands, they don't really have many expenses, not like a traditional business anyway. Because think about it, traditional businesses normally have locations, actual physical locations, which means they have to pay rent, they have to pay electricity, water, utility bills, council tax, that sort of stuff. With e-com brands, because they operate online, normally they just have to pay for like fulfillment cost, shipping fees, obviously the product cost itself, and then just like warehouse costs if they need to store their products in some sort of warehouse. Normally they don't need as much staff as well, like I found, because like for example, let's say you're working in a restaurant, you're going to need people to bus the tables, whereas with a online brand, for example, selling t-shirts, you don't really need that many staff. You pay a fulfillment center to actually, you know, fulfill the actual orders and stuff like that, and that's, you know, per order that you actually get. So it's not really like a fixed cost, it's more of a variable cost depending on how much you sell. It comes out in your cost of goods, basically, long story short. So I've noticed that because of the costs aren't as high, they're slightly more profitable businesses, which then in turn allows them to spend more money with you to justify kind of like your service fee. So first of all, and this kind of links into the point I was making just previously. they already understand the value of your service because they speak the language. They operate online, so they need new creative ways in order to market online anyway. So you telling them about this new Facebook ad strategy or this TikTok ad strategy or Google ads or something like that, they'll probably be more open to listen to that, and they understand it. Not only that, but they can actually justify that cost because they operate online. They have no physical store, so they're not relying on foot traffic. They're actually, relying on online traffic, and people actually come into their store in order to become leads and actually turn into a conversion, if you will, a purchase, if you will. So that is why I really love the e-com space. And not only that, because they have less expenses as well, they can actually afford to put more money aside and into marketing, which is where your fees come in and what you can actually earn as well. So I've actually found that you can actually charge more for e-com brands as well in terms of your service fee. I've heard of stories of people closing e-com clients for like 8K plus per month. One single particular client, for example, you're just paying them one client, paying them 8K plus per month. I've not really heard that in any sort of other niche, even the real estate niche, because I thought when I was starting the whole SMA stuff, like the real estate niche, was like the niche to get into, because like if you help somebody sell like $1 million home or some shit like that, they get like a commission off of that. That could be a huge commission, which obviously has a knock-on effect to you, which allows you to charge like a 10K retainer. I've never really heard of a person charge a ecom brand like a 10K, I never heard of a person actually charge like a local lead gen business like a 10K retainer for one single location. It doesn't really happen, to be honest with you. And I found that with ecom businesses as well, is that when you run ads for an ecom business versus a local lead gen business, when it comes to the ecom brands and you run ads for them, because obviously the iOS 14 and the attribution window is kind of messing this up, and the whole tracking is kind of gone down with the whole iOS update and stuff like that. Because but long story short, it's a little bit more difficult to do, but you still can kind of like correlate your sales to what your advertising efforts are. And what I mean by that is when you run ads for an ecom brand, it's very clear on how much you spent, how much you made, and what the profit was from your efforts alone. And you can actually track it down to the penny. Obviously, it's slightly more difficult to do now. Sometimes you have to refer to Google Analytics, cross-reference data points and stuff like that. But you will still be able to work out how much you've spent and how much you've genuinely generated them for that particular month. Obviously, the attribution windows, decrease and stuff like that, but there's still ways around this and whatnot. But long story short, guys, what I'm trying to say here is that it's more clear cut than local lead gen. So for example, when I was working with like real estate businesses and stuff like that, and I was generating them leads, because the optimization kind of like KPI, the key performance indicator, the key metric was generating them leads, not sales. It was like, yes, I was generating them leads, but how many of those leads turned into sales, and how many of those sales was actually was a result of my actual efforts. So it's not as black and white. So for example, with an ecom brand, you can literally say, look, John, we've spent 20K on ads this month, and we've made you a 5x return on investment, which basically means we've generated you $100,000 back in terms of conversions. That's actually 80K profit right there, month from you right there, and that's from our services. So if you want to cancel the contract, you can, but you're going to lose an extra 80K per month. You can try copy our services, but it's probably not going to work as well. But you get the point I'm trying to make. You can see how much you spent, how much you made, what the profit was. With a business like local lead gen, like restaurants, real estate agents, gyms and stuff like that, it's still doable. You would have to probably use like custom metrics and stuff like that, custom like promo codes, custom kind of like metrics and way of tracking it. But normally it would be for example, real estate agents would be very difficult to kind of track, to be honest with you, because sometimes the buying window from when you generate a lead through your Facebook ad to when that person actually becomes a paying client that actually sells or buys a house with that real estate agency, it could be 6 to 12 months, for example. So it's not a real clear-cut ROI that you're actually generating them, which in turn makes it hard for you to justify why your client should keep you around and keep paying you a monthly service fee. Because if you're not really making them money, they can't really see that clear cut, then they're gonna be like, you know what, deuces to you, I'm out, cancel the contract. So that's another thing I found with ecom brands as well that's better than local lead gen. The next part to this when it comes to running the ads is that you can obviously charge ROAS deals. So you can charge more money, it's more clear cut, you're more technically you are more responsible because of that, but you can also charge ROAS deals, so return on ad spend deals basically. So ROAS deals, return on ad spend is what I'm talking about. So basically what that basically means is, let's say you have a 10% ROAS deals. Now ROAS deals have slightly been affected obviously because of the attribution window and the tracking of iOS and all that crazy stuff between Apple and Facebook having that beef and whatnot. But you can still do ROAS deals. It's a little bit more difficult. It's not as good as it used to be back in the day, of course, because of the whole, you got to adapt and stuff like that. But long story short, guys, ROAS deals is basically you go to for example, let's say this is what ROAS deal would be. Let's say you're working with an e-commerce brand, right? And you spend 10K on ads and you make them 90K, for example. Now, out of that 90K, you minus your ad spend. So now you've made them 80K, actual net return, if you will. So that would be, you actually made them 80K profit. Out of that 80K profit, if you've got a 10% ROAS deal, you can actually take 8K out of that, because that's 10%. So 10% of £80,000 net profit that you've made them through ads. So you spent 10K on ads, you made them 90 grand. Out of that 90 grand, you minus your ad spend. So that means you basically made them 80K profit. Out of that profit, what you do is you take 10% out of that as like a commission, because they wouldn't be making that additional 80K if it wasn't for you. So you can actually take 10% out of that. And obviously this is like an agreement deal that you have before in place whenever you close like an e-com brand. And ROAS deals is kind of like an e-com only type of thing. Yes, you probably could do like a commission per sale for like a real estate deal, kind of like, or deal if you will, but it's not really that popular, and it doesn't really kind of sync as well as ROAS deals with e-com brands. So I found that e-com brands, not only can you get paid a flat retainer, but on top of your flat retainer, so if you're charging them 2K per month to run ads, that's your service fee. That's not ad spend, by the way. That's just you getting paid for your services to run ads, and you're getting paid 2K, and that's profit for you, and that's what you keep in your back pocket, if you will. Then what you can do is put in place a 10% ROAS deal at the start of your kind of like working relationship that says 10% of what we make you net profit is what we're going to keep. So if you make them 100K, net profit, and you take 10% of that, that's an extra 10K. So you're making 12K. That's an extra 10K on top of your 2K. So you're making 12K per month from that one client in total, which is absolutely insane. We do have a couple ROAS deals right now with some of our e-com brands and stuff like that. So I've also noticed as well that the actual statistics back this up. So I'm actually going to read this off the screen right here. In 2020, right, retail e-commerce sales worldwide amounted to around 4.828 trillion. So that was 4.28 trillion US dollars worldwide just in e-com alone. That's how much kind of like sales were kind of gross sales, if you will, overall worldwide in USD. Now that's actually, and that's revenue, and that's actually projected to actually grow to 5.4 trillion US dollars in 2020. So, this next year coming. And the funny thing is, and the great thing is, should I say, is that that's actually going to go up to 6.3 trillion in 2024. So that indicates to me straight away that e-com is growing. E-com's growing like exponentially, like it's growing just ridiculously. And that's basically one of the reasons why I recommend you should actually get into e-com, because it's literally growing, and all you really need to do is get a sliver of that growth, if you will. Now, online shopping is one of the most popular online activities that people are using the internet for anyway. So as you can see with these statistics saying that, sales are gonna go, the total amount of e-commerce sales worldwide is going to amount to around 6.3 million, just 6.3 trillion, excuse me, not million, 6.3 trillion. As you can see, that's growing. Most people are now using the internet for online sales and stuff like that, and actually buying stuff online. Pretty sure you bought something online, not too recently, or you definitely bought something online, previously or something like that, at least one thing. So as you can see, it's literally growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. So that to me indicates that it's a healthy niche to actually get into, because you obviously want your niche to be able to make sure that your niche is actually healthy and that it's definitely growing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to offer Facebook ads to them or advertising to them. You can offer email marketing to them, SEO, conversion rate optimization, funnel build outs. You can offer so many services. You can even create like a do-it-yourself advertising program where you teach e-com brands how to do ads, and you sell that as a program, and maybe you can do like a done for that's one idea. Maybe you can do like a done for you service where you come in and you show them how to hire a new media buyer and find a media buyer for them, or you do some sort of recruitment for them where you teach them where to go and look for a media buyer that they can hire full-time in-house, or you just go and provide them with a media buyer themselves. You train up the media buyer, they pay you per monthly basis on however long this media buyer stays of running their ads for them, and you're not actually doing any of the work. So as you can see, there's multiple different models that you can go after, and multiple different dynamics you can kind of help these businesses at. Whatever you come up with, as long as it solves the problem, they're going to be willing to pay, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't actually just have to be, because so people are thinking too one-dimensionally, if you will. They just think, I just need to offer Facebook ads to e-com brands. No, you could literally create entire Facebook ad kind of like program, if you will, with a top class media buyer, and then sell that program to e-com brands. Or you could literally create like a team of media buyers, train them up through like one class media, have like one like top class media buyer, then hire another media buyer, have your top class media buyer, pay him to actually train up another media buyer and other media buyers, and then have those media buyers deployed out to other e-com brands and have them run ads on behalf of those kind of like, it could become almost like a recruitment agency. You could literally become a recruitment agency, but it's like you're still talking social media and social media marketing. So there's so many different dynamics you guys can go down. I'm just trying to jog your memory, jog your ideas and your creative juices, if you will, which sounds kind of weird to be honest with you. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is why I really love the e-com kind of like niche, and that's where I probably will be sticking to throughout kind of like my growth, and probably going into online coaches and stuff like that, because obviously, you know, I'm starting to, I guess, become more, I wouldn't say become more of a coach, but I'm definitely helping more and more people scale their agencies. And if you do want help with one-to-one stuff, there is one-to-one coaching available that I actually offer, and one-to-one mentorship if you actually need that. And I also offer a 6-week online program where you can actually jump in and learn how to scale your business from literally zero. Even if you're a complete beginner, don't have much time, you're not tech savvy, you don't have a degree, I'll literally show you exactly how you start an agency and scale that up to 6 figures, you know, 10K per month plus per month and beyond within 6 months or less. And that's my agency transmutation program, brand new, still 50% off. So if you want to jump in, now is the best time to do that before the price goes up. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop me a like, comment and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on what your actual best niche is as well, and what niche you guys are operating in. It would be kind of cool to share some ideas. Oh, and by the way, if you want to join the free Telegram group and actually get into some, you know, SMMA discussions and tips and tricks and all that sort of stuff shared in there as well, go to the link below in the actual description. There's a link to the Telegram group. Just join that and then you get free access to that. It's completely free, guys, to join. So if you want to be around some more SMMA owners and just be around a nice network, definitely join that. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. DM me if you need anything. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.